Now I want to go over how to do some manual editing and cleaning in Meshlab with the selection tools. So a lot of times when you get a raw mesh, especially from a CT scan, you'll get some isolated faces floating or artifacts like what you can see here. And actually I'll turn on the edge highlighter so you can see this a little better, where you've got kind of these little faces sticking up from the main part of the mesh, and then these bridges that are kind of connecting two parts of the mesh. And these are not only going to cause issues for things where you need a watertight mesh like 3D printing, but they're also going to be a problem for measurements like surface area, where having lots of these little artifacts or isolated faces sticking out are going to increase your surface area measurement and inflate it beyond what you would have for a mesh that didn't have any of these artifacts. So the first thing I start with when I'm working with a mesh that's directly generated from a CT scan is to get rid of any isolated faces. So to do this in Meshlab, we can use the connected components selection tool, which is found right here. And basically this will just select all of the faces that are connected to each other from where you select. So all I have to do is drag the little box right over the main rodent jaw mesh that I want to select. And now you can see it's entirely selected. If I turn off the selection, I can rotate around and view, and it looks like, yeah, it got everything selected. But if I go inside, it can be hard to see right now, but there's actually a couple little floating pieces that are unselected that I'm going to want to delete. So if I go back into that connected components selection tool, you'll see that it pops up with this little tab that has the controls for you to know right away. And so I can just click I to invert the selection, and now my main rodent jaw is unselected, but all those little faces are. And I can actually go back in there, and we should be able to see them right there. So now I can just delete those by hitting this delete button, and out of the 3 delete options, this is the one you want because it will get rid of both the vertices and faces and not just one or the other. Okay, so now those isolated faces are gone, and we can start dealing with these other artifacts on the surface here. Okay, I want to get rid of this little bridge thing that's coming up with this edge right here. And I can do that with the Polyline selection tool. So that's this button right here. And again, the instructions come up so you can always refer back to these. But basically all you do is click around the area you want to select. And then click the Q button to add this area to the selection. Now, if I exit the selection tools and rotate around, you'll see that not only did it select through to the other side of the faces here, but it actually selected through the entire mesh. So we're going to want to unselect these before deleting the part of the mesh that we actually want to delete. And I do this by rotating to a different viewpoint where I'm going to only be selecting the faces that I don't want to delete, and not the ones that I do want to keep in selection. So I'll just hop back in that Polyline tool, select around this region, and then click W to subtract it from the selection. Hop out again, go over to this other side, and again use the Polyline tool to subtract it from the selection. So now, if I do a quick rotate around, I can see that it's only this little bridge artifact that's coming up. And again, I can just hit the delete button, and now you can see I have deleted those faces that were coming up. The other selection tool you can use is just a rectangular selection, and I really find this useful only if I'm trying to select individual faces, because this allows you to select only what's visible and won't select through the entire mesh. So I want to get rid of this little face that's sticking up here so I can close this hole. So if I hold down Alt, it should only select what's visible. There we go. So I hold down Alt, and it's only selecting what's visible. So then I can go and hold down Shift to subtract these extra little faces that got selected. And again, just to be safe, I'm going to check and make sure I'm only selecting what I want to be selecting, but it looks like that is the case. So I click delete. And now this is a hole that I should actually be able to fill. So Meshlab has this filter called Close Holes. And you can either run it to apply over the entire mesh, searching for any holes of a given size or smaller to close, or you can just do it on selected faces. So I'm just going to test it out like this and see if it'll catch that hole that I have. And it looks like since I still have some geometry errors, it's not going to work that way. So I'll probably have to go through and clean this up quite a bit more before I can really start filling the holes.